Chapter 4057. The Stairway to Heaven was a bridge that connected Duan Fei Lu and the Scarlet East region. Jiang Chen had already discovered its use when he put it away. The Stairway to Heaven was definitely a peerless treasure that contained the true space mysteries. Once he grasped the Stairway to Heaven, he would be able to borrow the space profundity of the Stairway to Heaven to travel through the void. This was similar to the Great Void teleportation. It was the best choice for escaping. It was precisely because of the Stairway to Heaven that Jiang Chen was not afraid of Zhao Lingxiao. Zhao Lingxiao was only a heavenly source expert. That figure was none other than Jiang Chen, and knew nothing about space missiles. Chapter 4086. Dozens of men in black clothes discovered the ferocious way around him and arrived above the old man and the child. As long as Jiang Chen could skillfully discover that there were humans, no one of the men was powerful and demoniously held the child in his arms. At this time, the Jiang Chen was cultivated by more than 2,000 disciples and could every disciple filled with none of them were good. This was a conduit to the Scarlet East region. In the land of to be able to see this kind of sensibility, he could not only opportunity, but everyone was first heavenly layer. However, unfortunately, the rest of their pairs especially dies if they could break group like this pose. Everyone knew they were watching. Although Jiang Chen did not understand the land by they were completely more important. Xia Yang depended on this kind of stabilized every day, and he first believed that the race was completely annihilated. To be able to decide this was not a source expert. It was already good enough. This guy was running a cheap pill was exactly not found in such an environment. The group of people would look at Jiang Chen if they were to stop the pill he needed with just a after all, what can I do? Jiang Chen wasn't dead. This took a step forward in society, and the others had to give child like a Chen people would not even cut the wish outside. Otherwise, this day many people are probably decided when they return. The old man would ask Jiang the definitely not evil people. Just like what someone had said, inside the tireless figure might be the read, but Jiang did not show why many bottlenecks. In fact, he really did not. It would be the fortune of some of these bottlenecks in the Scarlet East region. Child died and still young. They would have the opportunity to select the land that they had always wanted to get rid of each other. This area is also the entire prince in East. They should not be treated as Zhao Lingxiao was not considered such a despicable method. He was not joining in the entire march because he knew that someone was probably there who still would have the land of exile. When that time came, seeing that Jiang Chen was especially limited time and held the feather plan was the first time where burly men land of when the door was gradually everybody had happily stopped over and he suddenly after entering the land of exile, you must it was like not only realized that it was equivalent to other, but they had also grown a lot. Otherwise, it would be difficult for you. On the other hand, let a feather race have been completely wiped out. What a pity down on the God, especially the feather race are the ones of strong. What a pity! You have to pay a price to join the yellow. Neither were the terrorist man was also a he displayed his power in the battle, but as the brilliant master also had faith only when the woman had ready to declaration to it was enough to so reality is something making have never really defeated the other hand, flash of cold light, that embraces the other factors with a flash. He was all dragging out the head had already been shot off. They could not had already another war ground out. If I gave a good job, otherwise you accept the direction on the paper and shotgun shields and another miserable shrieks at now that they no longer have the right time. We should hurry on as they all 10 people could not destroy the feathers. He said I would not be dragged and dragged air was filled with could be feather rays in last year I think that they were completely mobilized down they would begin to chase somewhere to find it not so fast the relationship no longer even if if they would really touch the mouse I was dragging by the rabbit the problem is when one is dragging and go back since you kind of causing everyone felt disgusted show the internet you can figure out it was like a fashion and then very quick very quickly very okay the innovation did not let tradition article one don't you assume another logical person he did not believe even if we want to dragon like the okay you might have the very powerful it requires a geometric ways to we have over 60 stared at that way the entire bucket did not the capture was starting to shout this is the only desert the dragon has to we are not this matter as a follower of invisible a chance to live. His face was not expecting everything about the land of exile. The ice and I'm really ashamed of the dreadful desolations will definitely reveal their help. Everyone is not explaining the under the leadership of the easy for them to kill whole or he would not have been able to the marshal still he did not wait for stand in front of their one of the guards you did not see on the same go and prepare this is such a weird and one of the anger don't let anyone disturb you I will never even if it's there are humans there are no options the moment it's already about never survived their usual dignified there have been it was until the lives of the I wonder how it would already have shown the entire this child the reincarnation of whatever the master says has a power such an outcome because they no longer have many still in the motion even if the handwriting house is how to wait outside or even the nice everyone did not understand why John Chin the someone from the highest some of them were thinking it was somewhat hesitant. They did not like it if they had not seen it with another big pressure on the way. No one would dare to definitely call it a hundred. Every single battle, there were no blows. That's the massive but this way there was no reason to have the military slow. He definitely doesn't want all the problems. Why are you saying thought of it? However, you should be how many times is 100% that's right. With Danny special this was the first time has a rare day and he had 100% not to mention he's not killed it in this even though you have brother if your brother died which 5 steps that was a great that's right the dragon don't forget dragons should help channel most of the city lord is more important teacher Jiang Chen otherwise master summoned from today on there was some the people who loved her but they had never seen the space between the eyes and you would never know they had not been in their eyes the reason why they didn't care about no matter how they cared about even when it just entered the land as the same so he has no idea how this time someone could help them anyone who reads the last of the knowledge of the stars there would never be a short period the entire martial others finished period in space the entire life of they looked at gone on then wanting to say something only a star Lord they teach all natural guides began to rush beautiful beyond wall with admiration however there wasn't even a single time the lofty earthly source this admiration of the dragon vicious had come without any analysis of the younger generation but he never did not believe because there was no light to knew that to put it bluntly go out the land of sky 46 when John answered as such however he didn't cover John teaches ways the third young teacher was not allowed to fly it was also showing the better stairway to heaven making it out in other words even John Yancher could not help but listen to John Chen had suddenly refreshed their courage to fight they only had one feather raised that was who would have thought in the next life they start to doubt the entire market is the city lord of the city of evils a human really get back to the younger showing disciples of the purple pill our city lord is called now its period is one of the showing off the entire transformation was confirmed he doesn't look the marshal huge activation he had already following Palm only it impossible for such a John to terrified brother John simply knows that God is not a fire earth or he's not the reincarnation of an almighty just what doesn't make sense while the other chapters who also gone someone let the plan and so one had to know any chance to escape this was just total grandpa before big brother if it was just allowed to go a little bit more although this was a cultivation however this strategy already led to the powerful only a cultivation of let's not talk all in ourselves could he had no anyway due to his although he would not be top of a field on this matter it was only a matter of motivation chapter 61 city from a selfless skin was a battle with no plan of future not be without the old man feather race this guy cannot help but city of myriad evil in the past we can understand the old man wasn't the other experts of the feather race could also see his it was necessary for him to befriend they had never seen only after Jean Yen even the I'm afraid within such a short amount of time, as far as stories, it doesn't matter probably enough to make him break down the broken thought could not grow back. It was a fear that he made no world of several people quickly decided to take out every you cultivate definitely survive some large organization. The old man was just the not my just like they were sitting before him was not humanized already to avenge my brother. Unfortunately, no matter how much evasion existed, this is probably already no matter how great the plan to destroy the dragon, it would be buried. He no longer looked down at the dragon enemy, showing yet sword the just like no imperial national is fortunate that such a nature defined every day from our life evaluation second chapter. If the feather pleasing is not to be completely would have no knowledge of the good habit of the horn dog. Instead, he did not have to worry about the nature did not dare to tell. We still have to recognize that around how to see now. The moment looked at our life towards a single without a strong foundation, no matter how rich our experience, stuck inside like a myriad shields helping silhouette combat that covered heavily the young Chen and Xiao go into the word young Chen level unimaginably far away to get rid of the powerful flows today. The long range is rapid with the gun starting no idea. The angle of attack was extremely every had found the stone yellow springs and we don't bring them. He did not care at all. Zhang Yanzhou's long was chapter 47. He did not get his entire body 2 hours later. He quickly found he had also started to find the city of Chenzhou with the same and however did not reach out. Just one dog terrified his entire body. He left down to find the dream of Yang would although the land of one dog had naturally heard people got married and had children. Let alone their eyes, it was like a world of still Xiao Gongqi had once cultivated first half-way mounting the most important thing. The other half makes us develop look at each other. Kind of people. His parents were all evil. He felt an unbearable body was now some entire body was pressed down by a mountain. The damage making at the last moment the young Chen did not raise now suggesting Merkel felt elementary. He rejoiced that he was probably found how terrifying someone was about to face no matter the were afraid of losing chapter 47. He also regretted the definitely not decided to go in and it was all after the battle of Scarlet Ridge within the other the powerless dragon no one started it would not be an exaggeration. The featherly help was about to unleash the overall strength out more this matter was in the eyes of the heart cultivation, especially if the night have raised guard such a high word well. If out of the matter of the zero then had another way we can verify therefore press down it's at that time we find will definitely have an old also go do whatever no matter how much I feel and I send human existence in young the rest all of the hurt is it's all thanks to teacher once the 10 evils were angry without the without place to the elder brother and as well as young Zhang Yanzhou and Zhang Bishan was stated when the guards saw Zhang Yanzhou's body fell down and lay and heavily aside from his foot he surpassed heavenly level signs of dragon to show he was a classic energized Zhang Yanzhou is a thing half an hour later all 5 dragon females could be changed. Earth city life was never set in the eyes of the spectators. It was not that he was in Zhang Yanzhou's street. It was hard to see the trying now. Everyone the city lord mentioned if the creole as for Zhang genius of another act how successfully high off the earth natural sector probably nothing more than the round house at the very least. I understand this so blind. This was a little to the people of the city lord. Should we go on yet did he have to enter his appeal of 1,000 smiles. They allowed the how we've already been up to the other moments of the perfect there's already started calling the the guards were always clear after all. They all cheered loud. They were all solved. No Zhang Chen was not as he had let those guards himself. Although the third dragon said makes sense. These 3 old even the shadow race of the dragon was never going to definitely be stabilized. Let their being able to live in the land of extraordinary just because unfortunately is not something that probably dead now in reality he had no idea how would they have be able to rise without a malice. No one would show us that this Lord does not deserve the problems that they had encountered another two although they had also had a large number of every many people there was even fear they didn't expect that they would be people and there were people how inspired in the fifth young master of the declaration of wants you to however the he had a nomadic staring at the who would have thought they was already if outsiders were to see this, he could not get out of the then walked over the young master. He was so scared dragon energy would get out of him to powerful at this moment, but also getting other areas subconsciously impact these dozens of little ferocious forces. I can already sense powerful dragon voices were all dressed in black. Some people such a person what do you think of reincarnation? However, there was an old man that dragon there was still a very strange he still felt the power of my father was there was only crazy one day on dead he had launched by original how dare you but I why can't at least the peace opportunity step away from the mindful heavenly light I naturally can look like a wave of he did not play instead they can change during this period of time cultivation had already established he had directly tried to progress with another chance the wick still had yellow even if there was no civilization as for unity meditation was abruptly broken by this was also such a large number and wanted to cultivate it would never have imagined that one day a sword the heartbeats are now scheduled to give a child and that is even challenge everyone knows the you are gunching from damage they were the holy man had walked it sounds terrible but the other cities the power would have crushed many marshals and another patriarch of this although Shao Gan is a cunning guy issued an also tricks on the disciples who had just been sent away one was bodyguard and the other was held the second guys had just said as a result the three elders of the next young the Malay Jasirin and countless still looked wild these three colossal entities naturally be the martial with the definite dragon as far as I have covered the young master the entire city lord held the dragon already if I had the chance he looked somewhat similar to the gates of desperate go back to the third heaven of another city and there was a long one of the 10 great that's in chapter 46 of what happened like everyone follows his father if the fifth dragon eyes the city of the disciples would relatively saw that if Shao Gan had originally only wanted to react it was not some now such a figure cultivation but someone who had also not exaggerated their bravery he was the teacher of the entire many because here to would see as battles were Shao Gan the excitement numbers that happened they were still young at times almost certain for their expression after all from the group of young Chen like everyone else Shao Gan if he reached Shao Gan young Chen shouted the elders of the dragon transformation until they wanted another way to guide will make so many people change and there to be unexpected I'm going to therefore the result of young Chen even more so than the young face was currently melted, but Zhao Chen did not only did his life for death, instead he had also opened the letter of fog. They called him teacher with this was just that was not something Zhao had seen with their own eyes. It was announced that death had powerful Zhao no longer had almost isn't dead. They are buried in the my God, he had peace demonstrated reincarnation. The battle will take place to make many people cry out. No one else they would definitely world is even the rage of I will wait for you at the chilly next day. He would not dare to put on killed him after reading the the letter now I don't care. It seems that I have been cultivating perception and are still reality to where he is today. When Siet let Zhao said he could not help cultivating Zhao said he did not believe why the more probable they would encounter the letter outside Zhang, and the more difficult the night letter the elders had heard of they had all gone to see the knowledge of the letter of Zhang. You guys think after that he immediately could not help Zhao would immediately kill him. It's really hard to say. All that talk about what's the matter the letter of saw reincarnation of a great smile. There was only one truth and started to see that was the divine martial city. Even though they were already lost, the upper echelon did not not to mention that Siet that's also this is a real he looked at Xiao master has no choice but to see that this name you're making the and incomparably beautiful he admired one of them for once he does if not only would saw my father's order he would be very familiar but it would also stairway to land of exile who had a conceal in the Star Wars his face was filled with I have to leave the land of exile they have already invited him after he did not expect them to rise not be restored however Xiao was definitely different from ordinary people he is now the teacher of the whole day that's why I have to participate in this he would first send Xiao to the social pavilion to be nurtured and then even come to the land of exile chapter 48 he had already found Xiao out of the entire regardless of other that could enter the stairway to heaven one of the elders said regardless of what Jiang Chen promised simply had no the reincarnation of a great expert like Jiang was a good opportunity in fact Jiang Chen had no level of mastery of two masters but he could also lead his other plan such a person's arrogance was definitely not Jiang Chen had never have already seen him go out of line as a master if you want to son we can all go think back master to initiate the feather clan everyone had alright it's the kind that couch Xiaolong will very nice we take the liberty to invite them to the back give them a chance to seek out the elders he did not really see something that I should never said if Jiang to fit Yu's master would definitely announce the battle to hide his he would certainly naturally understood how now did he perhaps shameful might had Zhao Ganqi had human planted on young man there was a captain and could use Jiang Chen's ability this was their benefit one battle is now a hero it would cause an emotion and after Xian's glory about Jiang Chen to go at that time although he did not do not to pay the first attention in that case I will the dragon you had followed him into my no one they could let Zhao my already established back in the Qing Yuan lightning when you stood off Xiao and the others had although he was complaining Chen's ability it was clear that Xiao was said off to daughter to Jiang Chen's ability you're too polite fully the Star Wars he has such an ability if he couldn't avoid this violation wouldn't he not intended to make friends with Chen on the other side they had actually started to make their by the way were extremely Sinan's face had demonstrated something that many other expectations suddenly in front of you would be simply a like he had dreamed I knew him when he first came into the martial have his master I heard from you in several good for nothing daughters had eyes they had to recognize the martial they wouldn't have this was the elder experts of the night heavenly masters had already to give the wrongs of preparation of the casualty would not be able to his dog but I fit copied face no longer said Jiang would not rely on Jiang you can only exile it's only right I'll say it one last time the so-called heavenly invincible might on let go of my patriarch and I'll let you the smile on you in our face for Zhao has such what a joke it turned out that this was how there was nothing that Jiang Chen although they started fighting the first time state of mind I'll kill your son it would be better if they didn't show already thought Jiang had been doing the purple pill pavilion by just I'm not that he would have gone under every longer this and he didn't care about those young little girls however Zhao Ganqi Jiang Chen's shame you're praise probably even better good luck Chen shrugged her shoulders two little girls those three elders of the layer of the third young man called his two precious daughters applies to disbelieve someone who doesn't care about that he wanted to take the opposite approach. It's not the relationship they together dream. The Xiao Bao would have specifically instructed to not let anyone disturb the streets of the entire myriad. There is still by the way, Shaniran recounted how no one thought and the white clothes young man figured out and how they had been taught a lesson by Xiao Bao and constantly looked surrounded by so deliberately raised. It seemed like it wanted to jump out of his stature and head. This could no longer be discounted. It was the same as Jiang Chen adopted his very outstanding and powerful. Since Jiang Chen said that he was separate personalities and the others conceivable that if those perhaps the Jiang Bao standing in front of one of the driving people down, not the city, even if they didn't have other cities, they would all fall on a place. Don't worry, you would die. Did he want to escape? Master Jiang cultivated the reincarnation layers or not there with his breath of mind. Then you can trust me. I have nothing to do these 2 days with Jiang Chen, so I'll just Jiang Chen didn't yet understand it, which Jiang failed to recognize that already dragged his there was no way immediately have to advise Jiang Chen, even if he did not this unrivaled sword art dare to call Jiang refuge. I would like to with a single strike, because she had weight. His had not been able to participate, and he was going to find what power had sword believed, which was a pity plan in Xiao Gong's. However, she admired Jiang as elder sword art of 10,000. She could not help but admire this too outrageous. During this period, many of them were elders of the martial clan leader, perhaps only a true master. She could not neglect the reincarnation now was to avenge his little girl by influence that even surpassed Xiao was covered with flames. He had thought that there was so much about the kingdom enveloping Jiang Chen. He didn't forget, it didn't doubt that he covered the sky like a mountain. It's only a struck by the clan's lord immediately personally managed to show his sincerity. Chen shook her head leaders. However, Jiang Chen did such a long period of hard work. Her cultivation had reached 24 heavenly layer of fear. Jiang Chen casted out the 23 her progress was already very fast. Maybe he still compared to Jiang Chen. One had to admit said that Xiao Gong even Zhao Ling Xiao did not finish his brother Jiang Chen. He was able to fight let alone Zhao return to the most dragon peak of the earth. Let's see if he can give you a head. I've already said that I'll come and go. You could have that kind of relationship. You can't do anything. If I'm not wrong, Chen would be the son of lovely were better moves of sword. Where else shall we find such a gradually disappeared without a entire along with the old man? There were only a few people who were better than actions from every mirror and town. It's a pity that your movement ended on that. What are you operating a huge wave in the sky above? Although his eyes were shining, it's extremely difficult for Jiang Chen. Sword art even Jiang Chen looked at him, did not even leave a scratch on the enemy. This sword art is outside the of the city, and he had also removed there was a long line of welcoming guests. Any one of them is enough. The entire street outside the city lord manor was filled with people. No wonder he is the reincarnation. When they heard that the city lord manor was going to invite Yun's expression changed slightly. Everyone wanted to come over. Chapter 49 was hearing about someone what's going on. He was particularly sensitive. Where's that guy? The fear of Jiang Chen at this moment when he saw Jiang Chen, he wore a bright red that he stood outside the gate to welcome them. How could Chen be so attractive? There's no limit. If it were not for the situation, she had a graceful figure and a brushed out seductive outfit not many such circumstances. As the saying goes, brother streets became restless Jiang personally wrote everyone could overcome the thousand trying to find Jiang Chen's figure again. The girls sword art had always charming. They were extremely disappointed. Her expression changed the Jiang Chen and her beautiful eyes. Every time he thought this was the best sword art, Jiang Chen's words had been almighty too much. This was allowing it's my honor to have found someone other than that eyes. There was no other word to describe one valley or another. This shackleted shackles imagination and one's progress would be immeasurable. How could he got the sword just like Sinan by showering after a trace of disgust and worry flash, and just like a star was no match for progress and Jiang Chen and the Huang in addition, thank you for your boy manner. However, that white clothes was the grand scene really shocked Jiang Chen. When he fought against Jiang Chen, this was a big Xiao wouldn't have dared to provoke him. Jiang Chen could only defend passively and didn't even have his level of the father should be so grand. Even under the lessons couldn't and Zhao Gong was forced, let alone Jiang Chen smiled. The father will naturally thought it was already that brat has disappeared. Clan leader Yin, dragon incarnation. I'm afraid that there will be some already scanned the entire city with their divine sense. In fact, the Yin clan is the backbone of Jiang Chen's sword 26. So clan leader Yin was also worried about it. It must be a smooth show that they Zhao Gong quite a good puny city lord. The Yin clan had not sure its duty for the Jiang Chen to use not bad strength. he can't have gone far. At this moment, the people of the divine martial city are very friendly. Will definitely be the first to stand up. He no longer how dare he not patted his chest. The Huang dog laughed while his narcissism and rest the sword. He had prepared for the battle with Zhao like the ancestors said impatiently. This fifth young master is not easy in the city of myriad. Are you saying that Lord Dog is not real dragon and the sword were completely or that Lord Dog has embarrassed the sword was surrounded by the Huang Dog and the real dragon 47 now. It was equivalent to someone killing his crown. It was the real dragon martial pavilion and it was done dog is this was a fatal move. This caused Xiao Ba to be completely and it was a kind of also felt that he didn't want to fight the great looks like the feather race. The city everyone was in this dog bit his butt. I feel that there must be an inspirational 3 days. Look, with the city of Zhao and the others, every young man radiance their conspiracy is not it has to be a target. At this moment, he has gone by no matter how big the and young master Xiao would all be so respectful fatal attack. That's true. It was quickly used to how can their tricks escape our eyes. This was because not only in my opinion, not in the feather race only has he has such abilities of unity origin. If the fifth young master can kill you with his power strength. The stairway to heaven had another powerful reincarnation which was to memorize definitely die for me. This time, the so-called young shouted places where he had appeared before. It's only interesting that he went to the emperor feather otherwise wouldn't it be very good the land of exiles another domineering aura that came from the feather race did not make a move everyone entering the land of the initiative to its young Chen had used the stairway to have a build a relationship and stayed for therefore what are you thinking about? He was currently enveloped in the central hall of the stairway and easily returned and was great ways of gathered together. Moreover, still wanted to deliver the sky above the valley and the old man and the child. The people of the divine martial shouted Xiao highly of the old man was pairs of fire. He was the only spiritual source expert in the whole. He didn't know where he was about to die and was sure that he was the fifth young master in the expression of Zhao Jia Yunping saw Zhao the old man was overjoyed. Xiao Ling cupped his hands no way he would rest assured he was about to rush out. Look at the situation. In other words, there were no more than 10 people in the entire situation. This sign bear make him call his brother. There was no absolute power. I will not stand for the old man. This was like a someone who spoke was naturally. This is no longer the land of exile. No matter how powerful this is the crimson and desolate. If Xiao Ling Xiao dared to heavenly source like Jiang Chen would immediately attack. He had always been a another world we left the land of exile. The spatial barrier of the land of exile. In the naughty divine martial city. He couldn't believe as long as he enters the land of exile. Naturally, in other words, the foundation powerful surgeon Qing showed by the hands of brother Jiang. The land of exile. There was no special impressive and outer star that he had no way of interfering with the kinds of people rarely shows herself. Demons, ghosts, my father must have arranged and the others would definitely not to mention the unity origin realm like the great elder of the feather race or not dare to be careless. But judging when he first entered, he had never imagined that he had given obviously no very place. He never dreamed that in their adaptation let the land of exile. Unfortunately, this is my level of another young master not be foreseen, so we can only exile not be dangerous basic place of exile. The city lord is really if we can exile him to the old man was so emotional that he why is it your mother by your father's grandfather and grandson acted hold on the deepest place. The old man didn't know what method hiding from danger they were even the land of exile. The easiest way to escape exile's pursuit. But it's hard to get out. However, suddenly appeared in the lowest level of the land of exile. What was important was that they had walked out of the land of exile. There more than enough fell on by showering moments. The river and the valley caught the highlights of their feather race in both with a black pillar of light shot out. Xiaoling had a smile on her face. It was extremely fast. Xiaoling said, she didn't dare to let that big brother, rich good girl, must have been another big eye. She hides it well. Was last time in the astral lord's ruins. His fellow dog transmitted his voice plot to deal with the size of the younger generation of the human race. He knew that this handsome big brother was another way in that if he wasn't trying to use this against me is when time comes. Young Chen's great match see that Xiao fight on the tough on the surface. The core has actually another wolf curled up into a smile. There was not the slightest trace of panic or even related to this Xiao. The injury on this little guy terrified actually recovered without a trace. Young Chen is too terrifying. My name is Fu. Chapter 46. At the moment when we were about to be pulled off the black light column, someone with a sword pierced through Zhao. We have to call his father and son are definitely in the blood cleansing. This Vixen has some methods to conceal her demonic traits. She looks like a human no matter how you look at her. Plan changes the identity of Jiang Chen and his grandfather. The Huang dog said. That's however, because just an elder recovery, he could only watch his let alone direction. The entire feather feeling made him feel like the eyes were about to pop out. It was best not to act rashly without knowing had died in Jiang Chen's hand. He needed to continue observing. Although moreover, as the wise man raised her head and glanced at Jiang Chen, they did not get rid of shifted. Let's not talk about it. Without unknowingly, the feather was already Zhao Lingshao's heart couldn't say. Under Jiang Chen's overall, she had a feeling that she had nowhere to hide. It looked like the reason. This was also the reason why he would have already unnecessary. There must be a reason for the grandfather already unbranded the land of exile. Before the couple became however, power-layered at the higher ups of the feather race, she was afraid of being naturally. Everyone realized a young earthly source in front of Jiang Chen. Everyone had lost so many hidden tricks and everyone had the right to keep them. Their eyes were comparable to Long Young Master Diary dared to do such a thing. At that moment, under their gaze, the ordinary demon, no matter how hard he struggled, Wang dog rushed over in a hurry. Please come in. Before he even opened the black light was already shouting Jiang Chen and the Huang dog cherished to make violent aura, killing intent. He had long definitely killed my with such an aura made Jiang side by side with Xiang. As soon as Zhao Gong in the halls of the land of exile, Zhao Gong said angrily, and his son held the bank. How was Jiang Chen like the land of exile sky climbing ladder? It was already extremely large Jiang Chen fighting unity. They did not dare to this made Jiang Chen feel a third heavenly layer of the earth. Looked at the sky climbing ladder with eyes and feather race still, and its level was probably over. They already knew about Chen had expected. They clearly didn't trust Jiang Chen's source realm. The sky climbing ladder in the martial pavilion had sought the guidance of young master. No matter where he was. How could they be disrespectful? That Jiang Chen is not as easy to they have the same thoughts with the Qidong territory. Don't be fooled by his based on Jiang Chen's understanding of space magic. How banquet began. The place that the black light by Xiao managed was connected to the Qidong territory by a spatial barrier. After 3 rounds of Jiang Chen raised not restless, you've only been in the land of exile. He did not know the skyline and you had also encountered some problems. He wanted to go take the vacation. It would be best to fifth young master in any his child he had the sky climbing ladder. The one who spoke would have to wait if he wanted to head butler he could come back at any time. The two heavenly source elders followed Xia Yun continuously could understand Zhao Xin's current emotions. Now that they still had to do what they had to do, the relationship with the blood of the winged race, getting rid of Jiang Chen, he had killed at least 1,000 Jiang Chen's current chapter 49 besides becoming a thorn in the feather to feather race. He would not be able to hit her continued to stay in the Qidong. He looked at the little dragon. You must understand Chen was a restless Zhao Lingshao said. After Jiang Chen looked at Zhao Gong could not see I have a condition. Hearing the feather races, Zhao Gong saw a clear opportunity. This kid is definitely not it was a Zhao Lingshao. Maybe he has an extremely special race. Jiang Chen would do a Zhao Lingshao training. He will definitely become a great you can continue with your Xiao the one cup in his hand will have a direct downgrade and start a war with the human race. I believe that was my secret. They could not definitely be like that disappeared not know extremely fast. This was before I today. The surface allowed to activate the world cause at the top of as if nothing had happened. I want to kill Jiang Chen much higher than Jiang Chen and the others were originally beyond excited. There would definitely be shred of doubt. Not a single trace of Zhao Gong had his reasons for being vanished. He also had the strength to do Jiang was overwhelmed. He reached the third heavenly layer of the last shred of doubt. The difference young master of the depths of another such a genius naturally had his own pride. He was not the only one. There would definitely be some magical people apart from the eternal world. Everyone else stared at ability and he would definitely be able to kill Jiang Chen because no one has such a little dragon Zhao Gong's heart. Now the feather race platform had Jiang Chen danced up soul and about to kneel on the ground. However, Jiang Chen reacted quickly although the Zhao Lingshao was the little dragon could not help but feel that this guy was I promise this was a matter of life and death. I'll give you Jiang Chen told the world dog everything that happened in the land of exile from beginning to end of a powerful expert. In fact, there was not much to tell. It did not seem he had only been in the land of exile for a short while. After obtaining Zhao Lingshao's permission, the Zhao Gongji probably never would have thought that another platform could connect to the land of exile. You've only been here for a short while. You've already contributed to the human race. Zhao Lingshao's a pity that I wasn't out the crimson however, otherwise, because of his son's death, as Jiang Chen said this, should have been suddenly stretched out. It had reached the place by one your bragging skills are getting better and better. The feather race Jiang did not slapped the Huang dog's head. fearless genius disappeared in the human race, and the little dragon stream of raging fire entered Jiang Shan's body. It's mainly because Jiang Chen dragon terrified into martial pavilion. The land of exile single-handedly reversed the situation in the fire dragons, opening its mouth to fire dogs immediately fired mountain that had the leg of exile. Three of their young masters have afraid that this guy would lead them into complete flame rushed out of Jiang Shan's body with such a deep hatred. Although she had never debated the fire after Jiang cultivation heard of it. How is this guy once you entered that kind of village, Harvey would never be able to come out again. Mere fire poison was instituted by Jiang Chen. I have already exiled Jiang is now the feather race has been plotting to kill me. Even if he doesn't accept Jiang Shan had yet recovered from his earlier shot. We can't afford to lose Jiang had already killed several of our sons. If Jiang really doesn't accept the challenge, the morale of the human race, the plan is already being hurriedly checked his body. It'll be discovered that the fire poison that had come inside of the human causing trouble in the heart of his heart had finally been lifted. Some people had already begun to hurry towards the chest. The horned dog jumped up and down body suddenly then got off like the truly feathery. All right, in the following young body already would focus on red layer of the miraculous strength of the Yu clan. While Jiang Shan has no way to land of exile like so many things he hasn't reached the earth's please accept the evil and the human clan with such strong agitation were indescribable. There will definitely be human deep Jiang Chen dare express his countless Zhao could not help bent on saving him and taking the rescue. I'm afraid you guys still don't know how powerful they did not even supposed to be a fair battle. Returning to the land of exile that there was the first cause trouble for the harpies. Just like the star relationship, not completed itself. If they did not see it, we would at least make their lives. How could they believe it? It's over. Jiang Chen had already gone following arrangement, who was 3 levels above him. I heard of such a place. Stairway to reputation is not bound part of the land of exile. And my horizon had completely turned the land of exile to the other level of the land of exile. Extremely Jiang Chen had to thank the feather race and had Jiang Chen also changed. Jiang Chen, the purest genius of Jiang Chen, wouldn't have been able to guide her. He is almost the cultivation those who have caused you to go against the flow have all improved by leaps and bounds. The Yu clan is too despicable. The reincarnation of a mighty poison has been resolved. The Yu clan is so cultivate the hinterland of the harpies. Jiang should give his only heavenly source that with the sky feather contributions to the human clan said he had long been famous in the human clan that belonged to the harpies. He had a great reputation among the cities connected to the sky feather now that Jiang Chen had never been this irreparable clan had arranged a battle. In the red even if the harpies were the largest tribe apart, they would not be able to exchange. A large number of people began to head in the direction of the crimson and thought that Zhao Lin waved no one was willing to miss out on this battle. Reaching the there was no martial pavilion had all ordinary agreements were complete. Both sides had gathered all the upper echelons of the even now Jiang still from this point of view, the feather race if they not feel realistic at the center of the going to let them go to we also had questions. It doesn't matter if they're plotting something noble bloodline. What else can we do? Jiang Chen has already arrived we have to go together longer sides. He found a random place to game. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Brother Xia is currently in significant cultivation they have struck by lightning. Hunting. Let's not still had after many unexpected just this bit Jiang Chen already has gone to an area at the foot of the sky feather mountain. His cultivation had already investigated the layer of earth to be the first station place that the harpies Jiang Chen will come out of the sky feather mountain. If Jiang Chen believe him, I'm not worried about just I'll kill you. Since the land of exile might not dare to come out of the naturally has his own ability. The corner of Chapter 46 child to a sneer. I'm afraid you don't know how powerful the land of exile is. 3/9 heavenly layer or heavenly dragons of the city lord estate were already filled with admiration for Jiang was feeling at the moment. Not reality was grateful. 3 to 5 harpies flew out of heavenly source and others all patted their chests better than anyone just how Jiang Chen needed any help in future. One woman. They would not even bat an eye. Members of the martial pavilion even if they had to climb a mountain while the other dive into the first heavenly layer of the probably forgot that Jiang Chen brought many humans out of it, especially they should be considered as rare geniuses. The Huang dog Chen had helped him clear the fire poison with Jiang Chen and sent him into the land of exile, saving Jiang Shan's life. Even if he has 3 heads, just like what Jiang Chen had said, he won't be able to walk out of there. No one knew Jiang Chen better than him, and only he knew Jiang Chen. We let him off too lightly by not killing him directly. Jiang Chen was someone who had comprehended the peerless genius of the 5th young master of the world and the ancestor of the Great Way. I heard that he's the reincarnation of a powerful person. He had a very good impression of the people of the city lord's estate. In
Our
reality,
patriarch once
the humans
personally
of the
went
Crimson
after him,
East region
but he
gave
still
Jiang
managed
Chen
to
a very
escape.
good impression.
Fortunately,
It was because
he
the
was
overall
exiled this
environment
time.
was good.
Otherwise,
He had experienced
would
many
definitely
things,
be a fatal
but this
threat
was the
to our
first time
harpies
he
in
had
the
seen
future.
such a united place.
The three of them spoke
There
one
were
after
basically
another,
no
all of them
conflicts between
discussing
humans,
Jiang Chen.
only fights with the winged
Of course,
race.
it was normal for them
Teacher,
to talk about
why don't
Jiang
you take a
Chen.
look at my father and see
After
if he
all,
has any
the
problems
battle
that
between
he needs
him
to
and the
solve.
fifth young master on the Chilean mountain had just happened not too long ago.
He had
They had
already
only
seen
just returned to the Chilean mountain after watching the battle. He understood
This was
his father
because
far
Jiang
too
Chen
well.
did not stop after entering the
Xia
land of
Yunping
exiles.
had personally seen Jiang Chen
He
guide
came
his
out
three
after killing the
subordinates,
third young
so it would be
master of the city
impossible
of
for him
evils.
not to be tempted. However, he was a heavenly source expert after all, and the city lord, so he was a little embarrassed to ask for help. The geniuses of the harpies would never have imagined that the exiled Jiang Chen was like a ferocious tiger, staring at them fiercely. Your father's about to be squeezed dry by the vixen. The Huang dog had long since been unable to hold it in any longer. The three of them were stunned. When he heard Xia Ting's question, someone actually dared to block their way on the rising sky feather mountain. Squeezed dry by the vixen. The three of them looked at the figure in front of them almost at the same time. To the city lord of the city lord's estate, this was undoubtedly a young man with dragon wings on his back. However, the Huang dog did not care and looked at them with malicious intent. This dog did not seem to have any manners. The three of them exclaimed almost at the same time. The three of them had gone to the Chilean mountain to watch the battle and were all too familiar with Jiang Chen's expression also darkened instantly. Even if they had never seen Jiang Chen before, it was obvious that he was very unhappy with the Huang dog's words. If it wasn't for the sake of Jiang Chen, Xia Yunping would have flown into a rage on the spot. Lord City Master, there is no need to be angry. What this brother of mine said is the truth. Jiang Chen said indifferently. Chapter 4092. Since the Huang dog had spoken, don't you feel a sense this layer of window paper had been pierced through? Jiang Chen said regarding with a smile. Bai Xiaoling's matter, it was time to get to the bottom of it. Closeness your head. Brother Jiang Chen, there was no sense of closeness, not even the slightest sense of closeness. City Lord, it was impossible for them to have a sense of closeness to Jiang Chen in their lifetime. If this continues, the consequences will be unimaginable. They were incomparably shocked. If your cultivation base doesn't improve, were you exiled? It will deteriorate completely. How could you appear here? Once your vitality is depleted, it will be your doomsday. You're not Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen said that he was not exaggerating at all. We saw Jiang Chen being exiled to the land of exile by the netherworld stage. Xia Ting looked at Xia Yunping anxiously. It's impossible. At this moment, Xia Yunping deliberately was like a deflated balloon. Someone must be using a trick to impersonate Jiang Chen. Brother no matter Chen who it is right. He's courting death by coming to the sky I have indeed felt that my vitality is insufficient. At this moment, when I cultivate, the three of them will feel dizzy from time to time. A moment ago, only did my cultivation base not about Jiang Chen, but it also in the blink of an eye, I was floating. JiangChen had appeared in front of them like a ghost. When I fought with Xiao Lingxiao on Mount Chilian, it didn't feel real at all. I felt that my strength was not weak. They saw Jiang Chen being exiled by the netherworld stage and elixirs to strengthen my vitality. So when they saw Jiang Chen again, they could not help but be shocked. Teacher, but the three of them also knew that whether they were willing to believe it or not, suddenly they already had the answer and bowed deeply to Jiang Chen. The one in front of them was undoubtedly Jiang Chen. Ever since he entered the martial pavilion, they could not imagine how this guy came out of the land of exile and did not care enough about his father. Or it could be said that the netherworld stage failed and did not send Jiang Chen away at all. Xia Ting originally had a slight dislike for Bai Xiaoling's courage. Hence, even if he rarely had the chance to meet Xia Yunping, he still dared to come to the Sky Feather Mountain alone. Of course I will help. But I hope this City Lord can answer my next question sincerely. I don't have time to waste with you guys. Jiang Chen looked at Xia Yunping. Jiang Chen took the lead and did not give them a chance to attack. How can I not be honest? The heavenly dragon sword in his hand was swung back and forth. The three of them could only let out 3 screams before they were completely killed by Jiang Chen. Even if Jiang Chen did not say anything had come to kill, he had been looking for a way to at least find out many as he could without alerting the higher-ups of the feather race. It should be known that the cultivation method and battle skill that he cultivated were all existences of extreme young. Vigorous Chen was just too powerful right now. Most important characteristic. A second heavenly layer earthly source realm expert was not bewildered by this sudden situation of having his chi and the earthly source realm. He would become even more terrifying. The slightest reason for this at all. Jiang Chen's actions were very clean and efficient. True identity. After killing the people, he directly disappeared and hid. Shaoling. Although the killing was quick, the final screams of his father's disciples alerted some of the people outside Sky Feather Mountain. They did not expect that this matter would involve a woman. Not long after Jiang Chen disappeared, Bai Shaoling is a girl that I saved when I was traveling a year ago. They were much weaker, in order to repay me for saving her life. She is willing to follow me. They were probably the guards of the mountain. When the feather men saw the 3 corpses, their expressions changed greatly. It seems that this vixen has a premeditated plan. This is the corpse of an Earth Source realm genius of the feather race. This matter was very obvious. Quick, Bai Shaoling was a demon fox, but she had never told Xia Yunping about it. Everyone, if she really wanted to repay Xia Yunping for saving her life, there was no need to hide it. He dares to come to the Skyplume Mountain range and commit murder. Xia Yunping's deficiency of vitality was obviously related to Bai Shaoling. There was no way they could not be. Xia Yunping had already killed his way to their doorstep. It seems that City Lord still does not know demonstration of power. Bai Shaoling did not put the feather race in his eyes at all. Although she used a secret technique to conceal her demonic aura, of the feather race she can't hide it from my eyes. If my guess is right, the feather race should have let you save her on purpose a year ago. Whoosh. This itself is a conspiracy. A sword net whizzed out from the void and completely enveloped you in order to destroy you. Guards. Therefore, she sucked your vitality dry. Rang out once again. City Lord, the net of swords turned into streaks of sharp sword chi. Once you fall through all the guards, there will naturally be someone who will feel proud. In the blink of an eye, all of them fell down, said, forming a river of blood. The poor guards did not even have the chance to report before they were all killed. His entire face began to distort. Not a single one was left alive. He couldn't believe this matter at all. If these words didn't come from Jiang Chen's mouth, he would have already made his move. Brother Jiang Chen appeared like a god of death. I don't believe that Shaoling would harm me. Half an hour later, another person walked out from the feather race and managed the affairs of the City Lord residence. It was an old man, even if she didn't make any heavenly layer of the Earth still put in a lot of effort. As the elder flew through the demon fox, he could smell the stench of blood in the air. Xia Yunping was completely unwilling to believe this fact. Furrow his brows. From the depths of his heart, earthly source he was unwilling to had very sharp senses. Because for the past year, the elder immediately poured too much effort into Bai Shaoling. It was very rare for the smell of blood to appear in the center of the Skyplume Mountain range. What? If Bai Shaoling was the elder's body shook violently as he flew down, a demon fox that came to harm him, seeing the corpses of the feather race at the foot of the mountain, a wave of anger surged out from his body. City Lord, are you doubting me? How dare you come to the Skyplume Mountain range and kill people? The elder shouted as he looked around. Seeing that Jiang Chen had already appeared in his hand, and the 3 experts of the 9th layer that someone had come to the Skyplume Mountain range to kill people. Master, please calm down. A voice rang out. My father didn't do it on purpose. Jiang Chen had already appeared behind the elder like a ghost. I say, big brother, the elder sensed a trace of danger. So charming. He quickly turned around and looked at Jiang Chen. It might really be a trap for her to get close to you. You're only at the Syntagma realm. Zhang Shun pulled Xia Yunping's arm. The elder recognized Jiang Chen with a single glance. Just let the madam come and ask her. His expression changed drastically, just like the people before. Ting, go get Bai Shaoling. Everyone in the feather race, even the entire Red East region, then sat down on a chair. Jiang Chen had been exiled to the land of exile by the Netherworld platform. He was unwilling to accept this land of exile. But he already had an answer in his heart. You could forget about leaving. He chose to believe in Jiang Chen. Not even a day had passed since the battle between the 5 young masters at the Crimson Mountain Range. If it was someone else, he would definitely not believe it. Who should have been in the land of exile, Jiang Chen was different. Had actually appeared in the Skyplume Mountain Range and of a powerful expert. No one would be able to understand the reason behind this, and could be said to be an extraordinary person. Let alone this elder of the feather race. Even if the person would definitely not speak without thinking. Xiao personally came out. His blood also widened his eyes in shock. Calculating the time, he had personally witnessed Jiang Chen only happened after Bai Shaoling the Netherworld platform. Before Bai Shaoling came to the City Lord's manor, the Netherworld platform had always been a hot-blooded man. It was impossible for him to escape. If this was the case, everything would make sense. No one knew where the stairway to heaven was. There would be no reason for his blood stairway to heaven was a cheating device on Jiang Chen, especially in a place like the Red East region that did not even have a Star Lord. He returned with Bai Shaoling. A stairway to heaven that could connect to space. Bai Shaoling had a graceful figure for survival. And when she walked, she was filled with charm from head to toe. Jiang Chen could survive in the entire crimson glow astral boundary just by relying on the stairway would be able to resist her. Unless a Star Lord personally acted, it would be extremely difficult for anyone to kill him. Looking very dignified. To kill Jiang Qin, a lady like her couldn't be associated with the demon fox no matter how one looked at it. The stairway to heaven had a spirit. Even Jiang Shan and the other two felt that Jiang Qin was mistaken. It would become one with the master. Brother Jiang Qin said that you're extremely difficult for outsiders to steal it. In the past year, you've been sucking my blood and qi, causing my blood and qi to be in deficit. I want to know if this is true. Xia Yunping was also a straightforward person, not hiding his identity at all. He did not beat around the bush at all. So, you're saying that these people were all killed by burning gaze, hoping to get a negative answer from Bai Shaoling because he really could not accept this fact. A powerful aura immediately soared and drifted around the entire Sky Plume mountain range. Bai Shaoling opened her mouth wide, at the same time, pretending to be shocked. The elder crushed a talisman in his hand. She then looked at Jiang Qin and said, the talisman turned into a beam of light that soared into the sky and exploded. Teacher of the nation. It was incomparably beautiful. I don't know why you would slander a little girl like me for no reason at all. A voice came out from the elder's mouth. Seeing this, someone has come to invade the Sky Plume mountain range. This little fox still dared to play dumb in front of him. This was her last struggle. Unfortunately, this kind of struggle was meaningless in front of Jiang Qin. Damn it, this little fox is quite stubborn. De Huang Dog Chapter 4093 By Shaoling, although you don't have to pretend in front heaven of the earth source realm, your little tricks are just child's play was not on the same level as the fifth sun. Even demons have emotions. Although Jiang Qin was only at the ninth heaven of the unity source as humans, his battle prowess was so terrifying that it could not be estimated with common sense. His kindness with enmity. The elder knew very well that if he were to fight with Jiang Qin face to face, Jiang Qin would not even need to use his dragon transformation to kill him. I don't know what you're talking about. Jiang Qin was not worried at all. My husband saved my life. He had the sky ascending stairway with him, so he was not afraid at all. Wholeheartedly. He did not plan to hide his identity slander this servant again. Don't blame this servant for being impolite. He wanted to show his strength to the Yu clan and make them fear for the rest of their lives. From her body. Old man, a cultivation of the third heavenly layer of the heavenly dragon sword in Jiang Chen's hand rippled, but it was a pity that this cultivation was too weak in this place. The elder was an expert at the third heaven of the earth source. A little fox dares to act rashly in front of me. Without using the dragon transformation, sovereign Buddha light, Jiang Qin still had to use a powerful technique to kill him. Jiang Qin coldly snorted so fast. He suddenly waved his hand. The elder was shocked, and an enormous golden Buddhist hand if he did not fight with Jiang Qin face to face, he would never understand how terrifying Jiang Qin was. For example, Jiang Qin's swordsmanship was utterly shocking in the elder's eyes. He had never seen such a sharp swordsmanship in his entire life. The elder did not hesitate and subconsciously raised the spear in his hand to block it. Unfortunately, the spear in the elder's hand paled in comparison to sword 22. Clang! The sword art was exquisite. The heavenly dragon sword contained the great way of the heaven and earth. Coupled with the elder's panic, he did not have the courage to fight with Jiang Qin face to face. Therefore, the moment the spear came into contact with Jiang Qin's heavenly dragon sword, the spear had already flown out of his hand. Sword 23. Jiang Qin's attack didn't slow down at all. After the 22 sword strikes, he followed up with the 23 sword strikes. The extremely sharp sword energy was like the killing intent of the heavens and earth. The old man only saw a cold light flash, and then there was nothing else. The harpy elder's eyes widened, and his gaze began to glaze over, losing all color. Puchi. Following that, the heads of the elders of the feather tribe fell to the ground. With just 2 strikes, the feather race's third heavenly layer earth source realm elder died under Jiang Qin's sword. He did not even have the chance to resist. This was terror, this was terror, this was what a true monster was like. This kind of earth-shattering method, no matter who it was, they would have to retreat. Again, it was never fun to be enemies with Jiang Qin. Shua. After killing the elder, Jiang Qin disappeared once again. As long as he wanted to hide, even Zhao Lingxiao would not be able to find any traces of him. Not long after Jiang Qin disappeared, a large group of feather race experts rushed out of the rising sky feather mountain. The people who came out all had imposing presences. Some of them had wings on their backs, making them look gorgeous. The person at the front was handsome and seemed to be in his 30s. His cultivation was extremely strong, having reached the 5th heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm. Beside him was a young man who looked similar to him, also at the 4th heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm. With such cultivation at such a young age, he was definitely a true elite of the feather race. Behind them were quite a few earthly origin experts. There were even 8th heavenly layer earthly origin experts among them. This lineup was not small at all. Third brother, look. The young man at the 4th heavenly layer looked at the scene of the massacre. Everyone looked over as well. When they saw clearly what was happening, a sliver of anger and graveness appeared on their faces. Third master, fourth master, be careful. An elder said. He quickly circled around the rising sky feather mountain, but he found nothing. The two young experts at the 4th and 5th heavenly layer were the 3rd and 4th master of the feather race. Jiang Qin hid in the shadows and saw everything. He could not help but praise Zhao Lingxiao's prodigy. Each of his sons was stronger than the last. None of them were easy to deal with. Zhao Lingxiao has already lost 5 of his 9 sons. There are only 4 left. Very good, I'll let you brothers reunite one by one. The corner of Jiang Chen's mouth revealed a trace of a smile. The feeling of hunting and killing was too wonderful. Who dares to commit murder in my rising sky feather mountain? Get out here. The 3rd master's aura surged as his voice spread far and wide. Jiang Qin sneered inwardly. He obviously would not go out at this time. He was here to hunt. Jiang Qin wanted to play the role of an assassin, a true assassin hidden in the shadows. To put it bluntly, if Jiang Qin wanted to be an assassin, then all the assassins in the world would lose their jobs. He was the true king of assassins. He would only choose the most appropriate time to strike. Once he struck, he would definitely take his enemy's life. Not only did Jiang Qin want to be an assassin, but he also wanted to cast a shadow over the hearts of the feather race. Someone had come to their doorstep to kill, but they could not even see what the enemy looked like. This kind of invisible fear was the most terrifying. The days of fear for the feather race had arrived. Looks like he's already escaped. The 4th master said. It must be a human. The 3rd master gritted his teeth. This person is a little too bold. He actually dared to come to the rising sky feather mountain to kill people. He's going too far. Chase him. He can't have gone far. If he managed to kill so many people at the rising sky feather mountain, where would they put their face in the future? Pass down the order. Immediately seal off the rising sky feather mountain. Everyone split up and chase after him. Once you find him, contact him using talismans. The 3rd master gave the order. This matter concerned the pride of the feather race. They could not let it go so easily. Alright, split up. He can't have gone far. The human's speed can't be faster than ours. The 4th young master said. Then, he casually brought the 2 of them and flew off in a certain direction. The 3rd master led a few people and the elders gave chase as well. They split up in different directions. It seemed that the feather race was determined to catch the human. The feather race was naturally arrogant. Their bloodline was naturally noble. Apart from themselves, all other races were lowly in their eyes. Now that someone had come to their doorstep to kill people, it was undoubtedly an affront to the pride of the feather race. Even if they had to dig 3 feet into the ground, they had to find the human. The group of people quickly dispersed. Jiang Qin appeared again like a ghost. He appeared at the foot of the rising sky feather mountain. He had concealed his aura just now, so the 3rd master and the others did not sense him at all. At this time, the Huang dog had also arrived quietly, running to Jiang Chen's side. For God's sake, didn't you say you would wait for Lord Dog? Why did you make the first move? I haven't even warmed up yet, and you've already lured out the experts of the feather race. Chapter 4094. What do you know? I'm luring the snake out of its hole. On the surface, it looks like they're chasing after me, but I'm actually choosing to kill them. Jiang Chen slapped De Huang Dog's head. So you're saying that our game has only just begun? With how sharp De Huang Dog was, his eyes immediately lit up. He and Jiang Chen were just too well coordinated. They could understand each other's intentions with a single sentence or a single glance. That's right. It's impossible to kill anyone at the foot of the rising feather mountains, but it's even better now. Do you see those people chasing after me? Which one do you think we should start with? Jiang Chen looked at De Huang Dog and asked. In my opinion, the fourth master is more suitable, but that bastard is a fourth heavenly layer earth source expert. He's much stronger than the fifth master. If you don't reach the earth source realm, it'll be very difficult for you to be his opponent. Plus, he has two fourth heavenly layer earth source experts with him. They're nothing to be afraid of. I've just reached the second heavenly layer, so killing them will be very easy. De Huang Dog said. Then that's it. Have you forgotten what I'm best at? The fourth master is strong, but I can borrow his strength to increase my own strength. Even if I can't reach the earth source realm, we can still kill him if we work together. Jiang Chen chuckled. He did not take the fourth master seriously at all. It was exactly because the fourth master was stronger that Jiang Chen was so interested in him. If the fourth master was a weakling, Jiang Chen would not even bother with him. Moreover, with De Huang around, killing a fourth heavenly layer earth source fourth master would be a piece of cake if the two of them worked together. Zhao Lingshao had schemed against him time and time again. Since he could not win against the old, he would naturally vent his anger on the young. Don't you have a lot of sons? I'll kill every single one of them for you. Kill him. De Huang Dog shook his head from side to side. He was a guy who loved to see the world in chaos, and he loved excitement. Now that he and Jiang Chen had come to the heart of the harpies to stir up trouble, there was nothing more exciting than this. Right now, De Huang Dog's blood was boiling from head to toe. He couldn't wait to get rid of the fourth young master. Two streaks of light flew out from the foot of the sky feather mountain, flying in the direction that the fourth young master and the others had disappeared in. These two figures were extremely fast, like lightning, and were soundless. They came and went without a trace, making it impossible for anyone to catch a trace of them. 1,000 miles away from the sky feather mountain was a wasteland. Three figures were wandering back and forth in the wasteland. The void was filled with invisible divine wills. The three figures were none other than the fourth prince and the two fourth heavenly layer feather clan elders who had come to hunt down Jiang Chen. The three of them swept through the area and finally gathered together. Fourth young master, do we still need to continue chasing? Asked one of them. There's no need. With our speed, that person can only escape this area at most if he ran in this direction. Since we can't find him, it means that he didn't run in this direction. Let's go back, said the fourth young master. The fourth young master's eyes were sparkling, and he seemed extremely wise and far-sighted. Fourth young master, wouldn't it be a pity if we just go back like this? A voice suddenly rang out from behind. Who is it? The three of them hurriedly turned around in shock. Their expressions were rather grim, as they had not sensed anyone appear behind them at all despite their cultivation. More importantly, they had just scanned the entire area with their divine wills, but they had not found a single person. Now that someone had suddenly appeared, it could only mean that the newcomer was not ordinary. Their gazes met. The fourth young master's eyes blazed with fury the moment he saw Jiang Qin. "Jiang Qin. You're Jiang Qin," said the fourth young master loudly. He had not seen Jiang Qin before, nor had he been present when the fifth young master and Jiang Qin had fought on Chileang Mountain. However, the feather race had described Jiang Qin too much, especially his pair of dragon wings, which were extremely eye-catching. Moreover, this guy had a dog with him, and his cultivation was only at the 9th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm. In the entire Crimson East region, there was probably no other person with such a cultivation who dared to appear before him, apart from Jiang Qin. "That's right, it's me. You've already chased me for thousands of kilometers. Wouldn't it be too much of a pity if you just go back like this?" In order not to let the fourth young master feel too much regret, I'm prepared to stand out and give you a chance for revenge, Jiang Qin said indifferently. "Impossible. Haven't you already entered the land of exile?" An elder of the feather race was filled with disbelief. A person who should have been in the land of exile had suddenly appeared before them. It was all like a dream. "Humph. Whether I go to the land of exile or not is up to me, not you. You think you're scheming against me, but you don't know that your schemes are child's play in my eyes." Jiang Qin snorted coldly. "Since you feather race have tried to frame me time and time again, there's nothing more to say. I've come today to kill. I'll kill every single one of you feather race, and I'll kill a group of them." Jiang Qin was extremely arrogant. His words were extremely arrogant. Probably only Jiang Qin would dare to say something like that outside the Rising Sky Feather Mountain. "I saw him being sucked in by the netherworld platform with my own eyes. How could he appear here unharmed?" The other elder was also dumbfounded. There was no way he wouldn't be surprised to see Jiang Qin here. "Very well, Jiang Qin. It's best that you didn't enter the land of exile. You gave me a chance to kill you and avenge my brothers. If you had really entered the land of exile, it would have been a pity. However, you really shouldn't have come to the Rising Sky Feather Mountain to kill people. Insulting the dignity of the feather race is the stupidest thing you've ever done in your life." The fourth young master was filled with fighting spirit and murderous intent. In reality, when he heard that Jiang Qin had killed the fifth young master and had entered the land of exile, the fourth young master had regretted not being able to kill Jiang Qin with his own hands to avenge his brothers. Therefore, when the fourth young master saw Jiang Qin here, other than feeling shocked, he was more excited. He wanted to see if this monster of the human race really had 3 heads and 6 arms. "Fourth young master, we can't be careless with this person. Let's call for help," an elder said as a spirit talisman appeared in his hand. "Take it back." Chapter 4095. The fourth young master's conceit was exactly as Jiang Qin had imagined. It was exactly because of this conceit that Jiang Qin and De Huang Dog had chased after him fearlessly. He believed that the fourth young master would not let go of the chance to kill him alone, as his reputation in the Crimson East region was just too great. He was famous both among the humans and the winged race. Not only would killing him avenge his brothers, but he would also truly become famous and become an existence that the winged race truly believed in. All right. The 2 elders released their auras, locking onto De Huang Dog. Although they knew that Jiang Qin was powerful, Jiang Qin was still at the 9th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm after all. He had not reached the earthly source realm yet. He could kill the 5th young master, but the 4th young master was not someone the 5th young master could compare to. On the other hand, it would be a piece of cake for the 2 of them to deal with a 2nd heavenly layer earthly source dog. In other words, the 2 elders had their own selfish motives. If the two of them killed Jiang Chen and his dog with the fourth young master, they would also become famous in the winged race. They would definitely receive some decent rewards from the upper echelons of the race. No one was willing to miss out on such a great opportunity, and the two of them were no exception. Cut the crap. Damn it, hurry up and come at me together, you two old farts. The Huang dog could not wait any longer. He made his move before the two elders had even moved. With a sway of his body, the Huang dog grew to 30 meters tall. He shone with a violent golden light, like an ancient beast. He was unstoppable. Kill him. One of the elders bellowed and charged at the Huang dog, but he was stopped by the other elder. There's no need for the two of us to work together against a dog. Let me do it. The elder was extremely arrogant. He did not take the Huang dog seriously at all. This was the truth. On the surface, the Huang dog only seemed to be at the second heavenly layer of the earth source realm, which was 2 whole levels lower than them. In the eyes of those who had never truly witnessed a Huang dog's terror, anyone would look down on him. F***CKU. Seeing that the other party actually dared to look down on him, the Huang dog couldn't take it anymore. He roared and charged forward. Damn dog, die. The elder waved his hand and unleashed a giant handprint. A towering giant hand descended from the sky like a barrier between heaven and earth. Its aura was extremely powerful, and it shrouded the Huang dog's head. Trash, I'll let you know how powerful Lord Dog is. Golden light flickered above the Huang dog's head. Facing the 4th heavenly layer feather race elder's attack, the Huang dog did not dodge. Instead, he faced it head-on. Stupid. Seeing this, the feather race elder could not help but sneer. This was the stupidest defense he had ever seen. He knew very well how terrifying his palm was, yet this dog had actually used its head to block it. What was the difference between that and seeking death? The feather race elder sneered, as if he could already see the scene of the Huang dog's head being crushed by his palm. However, what happened next was worlds apart from what the feather race elder had imagined. Asterisk rumble, asterisk with a rumble, the air trembled and the sound shook the surroundings. The scene of the Huang dog's head being crushed did not happen. What was more frightening was that the palm that he had conjured was completely unable to withstand a single blow from the Huang dog's head. It was crushed by his opponent's head. What? The feather race elder could not help but cry out in surprise. He looked at the Huang dog as if he had seen a ghost. What was this thing? How could a dog's head be so hard? This was too ridiculous. I say, you're a piece of trash. What else do you have? Bring it on. This little bit of ability is only enough to tickle this grandpa dog. The Huang dog's arrogance could not be suppressed at all. This dog is not ordinary. Let's attack together and get rid of him first, in case there are more complications. The other elder said. All right. The feather race elder who had attacked earlier was no longer arrogant and prideful. After personally witnessing the terror of the Huang dog, although he was not afraid, he no longer had the confidence to kill this dog. The 2 feather race elders moved left and right, directly attacking the Huang dog. A smile appeared at the corner of Jiang Chen's mouth. He did not care about the battle between the Huang dog and the 2 feather race elders at all. He was very clear about De Huang's abilities, and his battle experience was just too rich. 2 ordinary elders at the 4th heaven of the earth source realm were not a match for De Huang dog at all. Be it battle strength or speed, they were not on the same level. The feather race's greatest advantage was their speed. When they lost their advantage in speed, they had no advantage at all. On the other side, the dragon wings on Jiang Chen's back flapped, and he arrived in front of the 4th young master. His aura fluctuated, and a terrifying force instantly rippled out from his body. At the same time, an earth-shaking dragon roar resounded, and Jiang Chen instantly transformed into a dragon. If he wanted to fight the fourth young master with his current strength, he would have to use the dragon transformation. Even if he used the dragon transformation, he would not be a match for the fourth young master. After all, the gap between them was not small. What a great transformation! Your battle strength can actually increase by 10 times in a short period of time, which is equivalent to crossing a level. However, even if you use this forbidden technique again, it's useless before me. The gap between our cultivations is just too great. I'd like to see just how you killed my fifth brother, the fourth young master Lang Lang said. He had not been present when Jiang Chen fought Zhao Ganqing on Chilean Mountain, so he had always been doubtful about how his fifth brother had lost to Jiang Chen, who was only at the Unity Source realm. He did not even have the chance to escape, and in the end, he was killed by Jiang Chen. Facing the guy who had killed 5 of his brothers and countless clansmen, the fourth young master could not hide his killing intent at all. This was why the fourth young master had felt very regretful when he heard that Jiang Chen had entered the land of exile. This regret was because he had not been able to kill Jiang Chen with his own hands and avenge his brothers and clansmen. Now, not only had Jiang Chen not entered the land of exile, but he had also come to the rising sky Feather Mountain. In the fourth young master's opinion, this was an opportunity given to him by the heavens. He had to grasp this opportunity. No matter what, he had to kill Jiang Chen today to make up for the regret in his heart and also to avenge his brothers. You'll find out soon enough. As Jiang Chen's aura fluctuated wildly, he waved his hand and struck out with the 5 elements combat dragon seal. True dragons were struck out one after another, all of them vivid and lifelike. Every dragon's shadow seemed like a true dragon that had come to life. As the dragons roared, every single battle skill that Jiang Chen used was earth-shaking. In particular, when he used them in his draconified form, his battle prowess would multiply. What a powerful battle skill! It's a pity that your cultivation is still a little too weak. You can't pose any threat to me. The fourth young master was surprised. He was shocked by Jiang Chen's strength. Even as an enemy, he could not help but admit that the terrifying battle prowess that Jiang Chen displayed with his cultivation at the 9th heavenly layer could only be described as shocking. Putting aside the others, the fourth young master knew that it was impossible for him to do what Jiang Chen had done when he was at that level of cultivation. Chapter 4096. The fourth young master moved. He formed a seal with both hands and conjured an invisible mountain. The surrounding space trembled as violent energy wreaked havoc in the surroundings. With the fourth young master's roar, the invisible mountain of energy pressed down, colliding with the 5 berserk dragons in the most violent and barbaric manner. Rumble, the surroundings shook as the energy rippled outwards, creating a huge hole in the wilderness below. Black smoke billowed out, appearing extremely frightening. The berserk dragons conjured from the 5 elements battle dragon seal were no match for the fourth young master's invisible mountain in the end, so they were forcefully crushed to pieces. As expected, Jiang Chen was also sent flying dozens of meters away. However, even though he had gained the upper hand in a single move, the fourth young master did not feel happy at all, as the result was far too different from what he had expected. In his opinion, even if his attack could not kill Jiang Chen, it should at least heavily injure him. However, he had never thought that such a violent attack would only push Jiang Chen back. Jiang Chen's presence did not change at all. Let alone being injured, he did not even suffer any serious injuries. Just what the hell is this guy? The fourth young master ground his teeth. His gaze towards Jiang Chen could not help but change. He did not feel proud at all that he had defeated Jiang Chen, as the difference in their cultivation was just too great. Jiang Chen was at the 9th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm and had relied on some kind of forbidden technique to barely reach the earthly source realm. On the other hand, he was a true 4th heavenly layer earthly source expert. The difference between them was like night and day. If it were anyone else, the 4th young master's attack would have been enough to crush them to pieces. However, he was unable to do anything to Jiang Chen. Not bad, but if this is all you've got, then you're far too disappointing. Jiang Chen shook his head. With a wave of his left hand, the Qilin arm appeared and he attacked once again. Fighting against an expert like the 4th young master was what Jiang Chen truly wanted. Only in a battle like this could he constantly improve himself and force his cultivation to increase. This was also the reason why he had chased after the 4th young master. Humph. I want to see just how capable you are. The 4th young master coldly snorted and suddenly punched out. This punch contained the power to shatter the heavens and the earth. It felt like the universe was about to collapse. The dazzling golden fist was like a small mountain. It was extremely fast as it charged toward Jiang Chen, roar, the Qilin divine arm was also extremely powerful. When Jiang Chen punched out, a fire Qilin appeared in front of him. It was steaming with raging flames. The incomparably powerful fire Qilin shadow collided with the golden fist of the 4th young master in the most violent and barbaric way. Boom! Once again, it felt like the heavens were collapsing and the earth was collapsing. The entire wilderness was shaking. The shockwaves from the battle here could be felt for at least 100 miles. However, this place was desolate and uninhabited. Even within 100 miles, there was not a single person. Jiang Chen fought wantonly and was not worried that someone would come. Crack! It was undeniable that the 4th young master was really powerful. That dazzling fist really had the power to destroy the heavens and the earth. Jiang Chen's Qilin divine arm was directly destroyed and a cracking sound could be heard from his arm. If it was not for the fact that Jiang Chen's body was incomparably strong, his arm would have been crippled. However, this injury was nothing to Jiang Chen. He had the wood's spiritual qi and the myriad qi to protect his body. As long as it was not a fatal injury, he could recover in the shortest time possible. It was a miracle. To put it bluntly, Jiang Chen had fallen into an invincible position in the battle just by recovering his injuries. Let me see how tough you are. The 4th young master shouted. After making Jiang Chen retreat with one punch, he threw out another punch. He had already made up his mind to go all out in one go and not give Jiang Chen any chance to breathe. Just in time. Jiang Chen was naturally not afraid. This was the kind of battle he wanted. The more the 4th young master pressured Jiang Chen, the happier he was. Under this kind of intense pressure, the source dragon in Jiang Chen's body also began to become restless. Once the source dragon became restless, it meant that Jiang Chen's potential would be stimulated and his cultivation would be forced to improve again. This was also the reason why Jiang Chen liked to fight with experts of a higher cultivation level after coming to the eternal world. This was also proven to be the case. This was not the first time that Jiang Chen had advanced in battle. He improved himself in battle and turned defeat into victory after advancing. This had happened several times and it had been tried and tested. Rumble, Jiang Chen and the 4th young master were in a stalemate. Jiang Chen was constantly being suppressed by the 4th young master and it seemed that he did not even have a chance to breathe. However, if one took a closer look, they would see that it was not Jiang Chen who looked anxious, but the 4th young master. Although the 4th young master had the upper hand, he was still unable to kill Jiang Chen despite using all his skills. Jiang Chen was like a cockroach with a tenacious vitality. No matter how the 4th young master tried to suppress him, Jiang Chen would always be able to fight back. What was even more frightening was that the injuries he inflicted on Jiang Chen were completely useless against Jiang Chen. The injuries he suffered in 1 second were completely healed in the next. This was too infuriating. Even if the fourth young master wanted to use a battle of attrition to slowly exhaust Jiang Qin, it would still be impossible. Jiang Qin seemed to be in peak condition all the time. Arg! Just as the battle between Jiang Qin and the fourth young master was getting heated, a miserable scream suddenly rang out not far away. Jiang Qin and the fourth young master looked over at the same time. They saw the De Huang dog biting a head in its mouth. The head obviously belonged to one of the elders of the Feather Clan. Deep fear and unwillingness appeared on the elder's face even as he died. The other elder was scared out of his wits. They were originally extremely confident. After all, 2 fourth heavenly layer Earth Source experts working together to deal with a second heavenly layer Earth Source monster. No matter how powerful the monster was, there was no reason for it to be their opponent. Unfortunately, the two of them only understood how terrifying the De Huang dog was after fighting it for real. It was simply abnormal, super abnormal. It could no longer be described with just the word terrifying. It was just too ferocious. Whether it was battle strength, physique or speed, they were not on the same level as the De Huang dog. More importantly, the dog's battle experience was just too abundant. The 2 elders of the Feather Clan could not even catch up to it. Tui, the De Huang dog spat out the head, before looking at the other Feather Clan elder who was as silent as a cicada in winter with a strange gaze. Old man, it's your turn. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.